Just waiting for Facebook to go live. And double check here. We are live. All right. Hello, everybody. Instagram, Facebook. Let's bring this down a little bit here just so I can see the camera. No, so I'm looking here. I'm looking here. You obviously know that I have two things going on at the same time. I'm liking this. So welcome to my Q&A. Today we're going to talk about a question that one of our members had about how to end the feeling of having to pee all the time. All the time. We know the drill. You pee, you come back 15 minutes later, you're peeing again, you're coming back 15 minutes later. Some of you are going every 15 minutes, some of you are going every hour, some of you are going every 10 minutes. Poof. Pretty much feel like you live in the bathroom, and that's how I felt. So I want to have a nice little talk, and we're going to start this with a pep talk, because nobody wants to live like this, but you also need to hear the transparent truth, because I'm a truth teller. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I don't like to tell you what you want to hear. I want to tell you what I think you need to hear. And for some of you, that could be difficult at first, but I'm an honest person, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Having to pee all the time. So I love analogies, and so I'm going to use an analogy for this one that we are all familiar with, okay? Your car. And I use this analogy a lot. So if you hear me talking about the car, it's because we all drive, and so we can all relate to this analogy. So your car is making a strange noise, and it almost shuffles around as it's riding. Something's not right with your car. And you take it to either a car dealer or to someone who repairs cars, and you ask, well, how can I get this sound to stop once and for all? Now, bear with me, we'll get to the point here. I want my car to ride smooth again. So the repairman is going to look at you and say, well, there's a couple of options for you, but in general, this is going to, really what I recommend is that you do an investigation to find out what's causing it. Now, your car repairman is going to say that, okay? Now, hypothetically, let's say your car repairman offered you some other options besides this. They may say, well, if you don't want to do the investigation, you can try some of this solution and put it in your muffler and see if it helps. That's a viable option. You might work, it might not. And so you take the solution, you put it in, and you ride your car around again, and you're like, no, it's still making that noise. So you take it back to the car repairman, and he says, well, here's another option. You can take this and move this around and do that, and let's see how you do. And then you go for a couple of weeks, and your car's still making that noise. And you finally get to the point where you're like, this isn't working. Let's try something else. So let's try the investigation route. So he's got, this investigation. Now, we know, I know that this is definitely a more direct route to finding out what the problem is. And once you find out the problem, you can come up with a solution, correct? Correct. So we know this. Now, I use this as an example time and time again because I feel like most people can relate to this. Now, whether it's a plumber or it's a repairman or a doctor or a dentist, chances are they're going to say, I'm not going to be able to help you unless you figure out what's wrong. And that's usually when you make an MRI, or you might go get lab work done with a doctor, or you might get some kind of imaging, or a chiropractor might do some tests on your back and your functional ability. This is called an investigation. Your car repairman does this, and so does your plumber, really. So I just want you to hear that. I know it sounds very, sexy to have somebody come out and give you a cookie cutter. Here, do this to end your frequency, but it's, the fixing the problem must require finding the root of the problem. I mean, that's a very logical thing to say. And you need to know your root cause. Without investigating, it's a shot in the dark, and you're playing a pretty serious guessing game. Now, with your car, you might get stranded on the road. Like, have you ever been stranded? It's not fun. I got stranded once in college, and my muffler fell off, and I was like, crap, now what? I had to call AAA. It was scary. It was like the middle of the night. That can be dangerous. That's a dangerous thing to do. And the same goes with your health. Sometimes I have to say, people take better care of their car than they do their bodies. I don't know why, but they do. But in this case, the same goes with your health. You're playing a guessing game and you're playing with fire, really. You know, you could take a supplement or eat a food that can actually be making you worse. I did this. I was eating a ton of chicken. Chicken, 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 chicken. That was like the main part of my diet because the food industry or the health industry said chicken was healthy for me. But when I finally ran a food sensitivity test, I found out that chicken was actually creating the most inflammation in my body. So it was one of the #1 culprits to my pain and inflammation. Because as we know, as I said before, inflammation is one of the main root causes of pain. Okay, and I talk a lot about this and I blog about this. This is something you guys need to know and wrap your head around this concept that if you're in pain, you're inflamed. That's it. If you're in pain, you're inflamed. Okay, so what can you do otherwise? So you can trial and error it. And some of the things you can do with trial and error, I'll give you some of those. Okay, one, you can try an elimination diet. You can remove some of the common things: gluten, dairy, soy, corn. This isn't rocket science, right? You don't need me to tell you to do that. You can just Google it. Google elimination diet. There, simple. Google it, find it, do it. That's one thing you can do. You got to give it time. So if you're on it for a day or two, you're not going to notice. It takes time for your body to figure out, yeah, those things that were once there that was causing the inflammation are now gone. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, you can try anti-inflammatories. You can try antihistamines. Is your frequency due to inflamed nerves in that area, or is it systemic? Is there an infection inside your body? Do you have histamine issues, maybe? Give it a whirl, see how you feel. Go on a low histamine diet. Try a low oxalate diet. We know there's a huge connection to your oxalates and your pain, although it's not everything. I try to warn people, like, don't make the mistake of thinking that you go on a low oxalate diet and all of a sudden, voila, your problem is gone. It'll improve, but chances are there's other things going on inside your body, not just the oxalates, not just the diet. You might be a systemic producer of oxalates. Now that requires a lab. That requires someone like me to put you on some type of protocol to help manage some of that endogenous oxalate production. But a lot of times I hear like, oh, low oxalate diet is going to cure you. And I'll tell you firsthand, I work with people with IC on a regular basis. That's not what's happening with them when they go low oxalate. It does not cure them. Okay, I'm just letting you know that. So you can try chiropractic, you can try acupuncture. Could your frequency issues be as a result of low back issues, or could your nerves be inflamed? It could be, although there's always a root cause for that, unless you've had some type of physical trauma, like falling down, back, true structural issues. Maybe you have a spine that kind of curves, maybe your abs are not strong, maybe you have, pelvic floor dysfunction that might be a result of trauma now, like childbirth or some type of accident. Then that could be a different thing that you need to address with a chiropractor or a physical therapist or somebody in that area. Normally, the pelvic floor dysfunction is a symptom and a consequence of things upstream, not the root cause, okay? But you can try that. You can try acupuncture, you can try chiropractic, and see if your inflammation and frequency are better. Okay, so that's the run-of-the-mill, try it out, trial and error methodology. Now, what I recommend, and you guys know this, is an investigation, right? And that would be lab work, a thorough intake form, and really trying to see biochemically what's going on inside your body biochemically, right? That could be blood, that can be urine, that could be stool, that could be hormones, that could be hair. So my top 3 are blood, hair, and urine. Those are the 3 that I love to do. And I get a lot of information from that. Again, it's not going to give me everything, because sometimes people ask me, are we absolutely sure we found my root cause with these 3 tests? And I cannot make that guarantee. No, I cannot. Just like your car dealer cannot make the guarantee that if he runs this and this test, he's going to find it all. He just might not find it all, but he'll find enough to start you on a healing journey. And that, from there, with plus your peer history and the labs, there's a protocol. that gets you started. It's like the repair guy who's tailoring the fixing of the car based off of his diagnostics, okay, and also the things you're telling him about how the car functions. So you both know, and I know, that the other thing that you need to give yourself is time. So when you've tried something and you're trying something for the first time to see if it's going to work, you've got to give it time. It can be, you know, months before you see a difference. It took me 2 years, you know, of just trying healing, and, you know, I'd start something and then I'd find something else going on, and I would try kind of like, it's like a map, right? And you're going through this journey. It's a journey. Healing is a journey. It's not like tighten the screws, tighten the bolt, and your problem's fixed, voila, and you're all better. It's not like that. You and I both know it's not that simple. Don't we wish it really was? So in a nutshell, if you want to end your frequency, a couple things you can do is you can do the trial and error method that I just told you, or you can investigate and identify what your triggers are, which is more of a direct route. And that's what we do in our root cause programs. So that's all I have to say about that. I think that was a really simple answer to your question. So, you know, the person who asked that in my Q&A intake, and if you have a question, you can go into my link tree in my handle, and I have a form there where you can fill out and ask a question, and I'm going to be doing them on a regular basis through this platform. And be sure to follow me on YouTube, follow me here, and I'll be sharing some of my secrets, my tips, and my recipes. And don't forget, we're doing these hot seat consults that are hot, hot, hot. They're real hot. They're free, me and you. And we do it live, and we talk about what's going on with you. And it's part of my VIP community. I have a VIP Facebook group now. It's VIP only, which means you have to opt in to it and be on my email list in order to stay in my group. I do remove people who are not in the group, who are not on my list. I do remove them. So it's now my VIP group. It's free, but it's my tight-knit community. I have about 1,400 people in there, and we're just trying to get to know each other. So part of the hot seat is to build up this community so we can all kind of create an exclusive group of just us who are healing minded, mind you. So the only people I allow in this group are people who are healing minded, okay? I don't want people in there who just are there to complain and vent and don't want solutions. We are solution finders, and that's what I am, a solution finder. So healing minded, VIP group, that's where we're doing our hot seats. If you want to be a part of it, go in my link tree, fill out the form. I will be emailing you personally and saying, hey, you've been chosen for a hot seat. It's a free consult, but it is live on Facebook. So I hope that was helpful for you, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.